almost everybody is talking about the hardware and how to get better in laser scanning or photogrammetry. But especially when speaking about Scan-to-BIM or Scan-to-CAD projects, I think that the bottleneck is somewhere else. What do you think?
Yes, it's the kind of industry where the equipment obviously plays a key role in everything. We rely on the equipment, on the manufacturers that develop the equipment, and maybe new technologies that they are introducing. The other part is the software, and that's where a lot of waste lies in the software part. So one of the goals, let's say, of Undet is to reduce the waste in how much time we spend dealing with, let's say, complicated or large data sets, and actually take a step back and realize how is it the best way that we do that currently? Is there a better way to do that? What software should we choose for this job? And a lot of our customers actually going through those questions find us in the thinking about these issues, and realize that a simple thing that there's a better way to do, let's say, just vectorization of the point cloud, 2D, 3D, or BIM. And that's where, obviously, like you said, equipment is important, but the software is nonetheless.
Where I was aiming is the question about the time spent actually on projects, because with all the SLAM technologies and with the democratization of the whole reality capturing industry, we are able to get better and sooner the data from the field, right? So we can scan pretty fast. We get a point cloud, or we get a 3D measure, whatever output we need, pretty soon, pretty fast. But once the client needs it to be with the drawings, or they need a 3D BIM out of it, then it's the problem. I think like this can take much more time compared to time spent in the field and processing of the raw data. So you can get much sooner. You can get the point cloud compared how much time you have to spend on vectorization, drawings, and modeling.
Yes, exactly. So, like you said, scanning is getting faster and faster. Obviously, it still takes days or a number of hours, depending on the size of the project and equipment or level of detail we are implementing. But the biggest amount of time it's spent in registering point clouds and then turning them into usable assets, be it a BIM model or a set of 2D drawings. And that's where we're really focusing now, especially with the advent and, let's say, a momentum of SLAM scanners that actually speeds up the process of scanning in a big way. And we follow the industry. We realize that's where a lot of the industry is headed to, actually not so much improving the level of detail, but obviously the quality is important, but how fast can we do that? So if we enter a large industrial estates, the key is how fast can we scan the area with minimal damage to, let's say, day-to-day operations in that area. So we actually have separate piece of functionality being introduced, or at least it's on our roadmap when it comes to Undet software that's particularly aimed at SLAM scanners, and how we can also speed up the software part of it, speed up the vectorization part of it.
I was asked many times whether I think the SLAM will be the future of laser scanning, or the TLS will still have its position. So I have kind of answer to this, but I want to hear your idea first. Like, where do you think, from the hardware point of view, where are we heading? Like, where are we going?
I'm not too savvy in the hardware, to be honest. I'm more of a software person, but from what I understand, scanners are becoming. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but in the way they are being reduced in how much they cost, so they're just basically becoming cheaper. The technology becomes more available to wider set of companies or people dealing with the scanning, and it's definitely aiming towards the speed of how fast can we scan and what quality can we attain with those scanners. So SLAM is the portable scanners is definitely looking that the industry is looking that direction. So we're just trying to not so much catch up, but we're trying to play part in that developing area of our industry, as well as software. So there's areas that we also are developing in terms of the software and how software can benefit the workflow of SLAM scanners or the way they are meant to be used. Yes.
So just a simple last question to this. Do you think that the SLAM scanners will dominate the especially as-built industry?
Most likely. I don't see any other good or viable alternatives to SLAM because it's a simple idea. Let's make them more affordable and let's make the process faster.
And you are not counting iPhone scanning into this category, right?
No, that's a different kind of industry, I would say. Although I have tried it myself, and the results are interesting. Let's say that they're not of the best of a quality, but it definitely has an application when it comes to low end, let's say low end scanners and using phones. It's evolving, and it's just interesting where that's going to go. But for a professional use, there are very expensive scanners who do certain tasks, but actually, like we say, that the trend is making that a bit more affordable and improving the speed drastically. Yeah.
If I could add my 2 cents to these questions, I would say that the important term when speaking about this is the term accuracy, because from the history with the first laser scanners and then these better and better machines, it was always about the accuracy, like how accurate you can get the data, how accurate you can get the data. These questions are usually coming from surveyors because everything is about the accuracy, almost everything. And but actually, if you are in the field doing Scan-to-BIM projects and doing as-built documentations, you can see that you don't have perfect flat walls, perfectly flat floors, and perfect angles. You are always doing some compromises. It means you don't really need on the most of the projects, for especially if we are speaking about as-built documentation, you don't really need the millimeter accuracy because you are doing compromises in centimeters anyway, right?
Yes, correct. In most cases.
So I really think that the TLS scanners will have the future. It's not something that will be discontinued, but these will be mostly for pipings, for very detailed scanning, for combination with photogrammetry, for example, and so on. But these SLAM solutions, I think that they have a bright future regarding Scan-to-BIM projects of as builds of the buildings.
Yes, for sure. I definitely agree with that. And just looking at the trends of software and what do professionals require from the software, it's in a lot of cases, or at least there's a visible trend that with the SLAM scanners being quite widespread and having a positive future, there's a requirement for the software to recognize the kind of requirements the scanners come in with and address those same issues. I mean, in a lot of cases, speed, efficiency, accuracy. Yeah, accuracy relies more on the equipment, but we have to make sure the software can account for high accuracy, so you can process the point clouds in high accuracy, and the software is still the same, has the same capabilities. Or if you want to do lower level of detail and thus increase the speed, and the software is there on your side, so it's important.
Mm-hmm. You know, Povilas, I have this same saying or a claim that 2D is against my religion. How
Yes.
is it with you personally?
Uh, these days, I'm of an opinion that 2D has its time and place, meaning there's still a requirement for that, and it is just not so much a relic from the past, but still a viable requirement of projects. At Undet, well, not so much Undet, but the company near the other company of many that we have, we do the scanning and vectorizing. So 2D CAD, simple 2D CAD drawing is still taking a big part in that. There's a 3D and BIM component, but that's the future oriented part of vectorization or point clouds. 2D CAD, I don't know how long it's going to stay, but now we have better tools and software. So there's part of industry that's future oriented. The other part is just like AutoCAD is an industry standard. So it's probably going to stay for a little while.
Fair enough. Um, I saw on your profile that you are with Undet something over the year or so.
Yes,
Is
not
it
too
correct?
long ago. It's just exactly so a year and 2 months.
Can Can you just tell me what's your background like? From which industry you came here?
Yes. So my background is architecture. That's my formal education. I finished an architecture school in Scotland. I worked at the architect's office for a couple of years in London, overseeing some of the big projects and quite exciting projects. And then I moved back to Lithuania. That's where Undet is from. We are based in Vilnius, Lithuania. That's where I live currently. And previous to Undet, I was working in another company dealing with add-ons for Revit. So there's some parallels to my current position. We were developing add-ons for Revit that help customers in wood framing, timber framing, precast concrete, and so with point clouds and scanning, there are areas where we identify the future trends, like SLAM scanners or like BIM is already present, but there's more exciting things happening. With that company, prefabrication was a big thing where we obviously could recognize it's something that's creeping onto many companies and beginning to be like inbuilt into the policy in a way. So yes, I did that for a while, and then I joined Undet. Scanning is not something I've actually done. I have seen and shadowed my colleagues, but I'm more focused onto the software side of things. And kind of
What convinced you to join Undet? I'm just guessing that it wasn't the only option once you were deciding to go away from the previous.
Yes. So number one for me is Undet is operating within Lithuania, but focusing to the outside of markets in Europe, in the United States, in Asia, etc. So number one, we are developing something that we're selling and distributing worldwide. That's quite exciting. And number two is the kind of software and where it's headed. So in my mind, and I believe I was correct in making that decision, that scanning and digitizing our built environment is is going to take a bigger market cap over the years. It's something that's increasing, and there's various new companies offering new ways of doing that. So it's just quite exciting for me to learn something new, let's say, and especially in the industry that I feel it's growing and has a big potential. So it's quite interesting.
I have seen several companies which are more or less in a competition with Undet, but most of them are like platform first. So
Yes.
Specifically saying that they are trying to build their own software where you bring the point cloud data, there you are drawing inside it, you are modeling inside it, and then you can export wherever you want. Okay,
Yes.
so they are basically enclosing you into their environment. But the approach from Undet is different, right?
Yes, it's slightly different. May I say fundamental? Well, it's a big word, fundamentally, but yes, it's slightly different. So we don't impose any, let's say, any new environments, any new rules that are completely alien to any workflow. We actually come in, recognize the current state of things and workflow, and how surveyors use the equipment, get the scan data, what they do with it. We recognize the current workflow, and we step into that workflow in the particular area of that workflow. And as you may know, Undet, the point of Undet is really speed up and make the vectorization more efficient. So we don't mess with any other parts of the workflow. We come at the point where a customer has already got the scan data, and they're just looking for a more efficient, better, more affordable ways to use that data and vectorize it and have results from it. That's where we come in, and then obviously what they do with those results is back to them. But we have very clear objectives to where we step in, and we don't enclose or impose any new environments. Web-based, so browser-based software is a good thing, but it depends on what it's trying to achieve. We have some additional software like Undet browser. That's a separate kind of environment, a separate window, but we couldn't really do much more with taking the customer outside of those environments. We have to, because we're dealing with vectorization, we have to stay in Revit, we have to stay in AutoCAD, SketchUp, and aid the customer in vectorizing. So we have ideas on our roadmap, making part of it web-based, but it's definitely not going to be our main focus and main driver of the software.
Mm-hmm. When I asked you about whether 2D is against your religion, I always have an agenda behind it, because I'm not really interested in the answer per se, but I'm interested in the thinking behind it. Because saying 2D is against my religion, it's something that I believe in, but at the same time, I'm able to see the real world, right? I'm in a daily contact with our clients. I can see their workflows. I can see that the majority are still working in AutoCAD.
Yes.
If I would be pushing on them 3D every time that I speak to them, I would probably be out of the out
Be
of
in
the
trouble.
job.
Yes.
So yeah, this is my long-term mission to explain to them why 3D is better, but I'm not trying to push it on them. Okay. So
yes, and it makes sense. You are suggesting a path forward,
yeah,
and it's a forward thinking rather than we have to do this way from now on. It's the way of thinking. Yeah.
Why I'm mentioning this is because it's the similar thinking to what you are saying about accepting and respecting the current workflow of your clients. you don't really want to take them out from their AutoCAD, which they have spent last 30 years working in, right?
Yes.
They know it from inside and outside,
Yeah.
so it doesn't make sense to bring them somewhere else.
Yes, we have to come and meet them where they are, because we are not Autodesk, and we're not going to be. So we have to meet them in the places where they are operating, which may be Revit, maybe AutoCAD. We have something called Ares Commander. Well, it's part of the solution. It's called Undet Suite, that consists of Ares Commander for 2D CAD and Undet add-on. So we have to meet them there as well. Or for AutoCAD users, we have alternatives to offer that benefit them more. But yes, the way you lay it out there, yeah, it's definitely correct. Yeah.
So what is the major problem that Undet is trying to solve?
Well, it's dealing with data sets that not the data sets may be very clear and very well organized and registered, but it's how we deal with them that may sometimes be very cumbersome. And with large data sets, it can be just overwhelming. So our goal is to simplify how we perceive, how we use and understand the scan data, allow customers for easier management of point clouds, and especially when it comes to digitizing and vectorizing, so drawing in 2D CAD or modeling in Revit. We make the process much easier. So I will show later on how that's done, but we have a set of features for each of our add-on that basically allows you to understand what you're dealing with and deal with the particular area of the point cloud at a single time, and not deal with everything. So there are a set of features designed for that. There are actually more than that. So that's the main goal, to really make it easier, make it more efficient, making it faster. There are also other features besides that has to do with automation, that has to do with extraction of not so much data, but of objects. There are other set of features that have to do with quality control and assurance. So
we will,
yes.
we will certainly go to that, but I just wanted to set like the basics. Usual problem with if I was delivering point clouds to architects, engineers, and these professions, is that they usually don't work with high-end machines, right? So if I deliver them a point cloud which is 20 gigabytes, they will certainly love me.
Yes.
So is this something that the Undet is actually helping with?
Yes, especially in Revit. Well, in all of the platforms, but in Revit, we are introducing a new way of approaching the point cloud. So let's say slicing a point cloud. You don't want to deal with the entire RCP file in Revit or AutoCAD, let's say. And we have tools that help you slice up the point cloud in the way that you desire at a given moment, based on what you are drawing, be it elevation, plan view, or a section. So slicing it up and presenting the data, presenting the point cloud in the visually in the way that you can understand it just by looking at it much better. So let's say color coding or coloring the point cloud is quite important for everyone. So there are tools that help you to really slice it up, reference it, and then color it, so you can better understand what you're looking at. And in Revit, we actually don't work with RCP. We work with raster images. We have an engine that generates those images. And actually that makes it way faster, because you don't have to load the entirety of the point cloud in your Revit model. You can actually reference it with raster images, which weigh kilobytes.
But we are still speaking only about like slices or sections or views. Okay, so these are like positions of the camera on a 3D point cloud,
Not so much
which you will rasterize.
not so much the positions, the views. So you have a floor plan view, let's say, or a section view. You go into the view in a particular view, and then you slice it up. You just create slices of a point cloud, and then you will be coloring them so you
Do
can
you think? Do you think
understand.
we can show the workflow?
Sure. I'm sharing a Revit model right now that I mean, uh, geometry has already been modeled, and we can see a point cloud in the background. The point cloud, really like this piece over here, is a raster image, obviously pinned for accuracy, but it's a raster image. Yeah, so that's a good example, and you will be modeling your let's say BIM or 3D asset in this way. So you're not dealing with RCP file, let's say, which others don't have. So there are people who work in who create a model in the 3D view. That's fine, but it's not ideal. It's not a recommended workflow that we would recommend to anyone. Ideally, you would be working in a 2D view. Let's say a floor plan. If you're drawing a floor plan, obviously you have a floor plan open, and you will be referencing the point cloud. To do that, in the Undet tab, we have something called Slice Manager. So it allows you to cut a point cloud at the relevant height, or if it's an elevation or section, at the relevant depth of a view. You pick a resolution. You don't have to go for highest resolution all the time or the lowest. So there are sometimes, resolution is quite important. It's just that it's not one or the other. You have options to choose from. And you have coloring modes over here. So for a floor plan, you're probably going to go for black and white coloring mode to really differentiate between your external and internal walls, and know where there's furniture and where there's a partition. For elevation view, you would go for a plain mode with a selected coloring palette, so that it would highlight the depth and, let's say, the different planes of the facade, so you can clearly see the depth based on coloring alone. So that's how it's done. That's the innovation that we bring in, where we don't deal with let's say, in this 3D image. I mean, we can have RCP loaded, but we're not going to deal with that. And if it's a big point cloud, it's definitely going to slow down the workstation. Well, you may say, I have a powerful workstation. Yeah, that's fine. But working with raster images and utilizing Undet way of working with that, is still going to speed up the processing of the point cloud, where you actually don't deal with RCPs. You deal with raster images and referencing, and there's actually no loss in quality or no interference in your data that you have presented. It's the point cloud remains exactly the same. The method of showing the information changes, so we're dealing with raster images. Yes.
What kind of point cloud formats are you accepting? Is it limited to the particular software that you are working within, or you are like importing point clouds on your side? I mean, on that side.
Yes, so I will touch briefly on the process that is part of Undet. So we have something called Undet Indexer, and that's a tiny piece of software actually that allows you to is a first step in the workflow. It allows you to convert pretty much all of, not all, but the most commonly found point cloud files, E57s and many other kinds of files. So you're going to convert them to native Undet file. That's the only step you're going to have to take. The rest is simply going to Undet tab and then using various options here. You want to load the project. So for a type, let's say standalone buildings, it's one building. We're going to use this option. For group of buildings or 2, 3, etc. We're going to use this option for. So it's a scale of our point cloud.
Okay. Are there any limits to how big point clouds you can run through
Yes.
Undet?
So the limits really only rely on the workstation. From Undet point of view, it has no limits, or at least as far as I have come across, I haven't seen any limitations in the complexity or file size when it comes to indexing or using Undet for your point clouds. So it can be, and we do in the office, we do use quite big data sets. So there's no issues. There are no issues with that. It only relies on Revit. If Revit isn't crashing, it is capable of handling file size, then Undet has no issues with that, and your workstation, obviously.
What's the difference between native Revit workflow compared to Undet? Like, what's the unique selling point of the Undet? Why should we choose Undet compared to Revit workflow?
So first of all, there are sets of tools that allows you to slice the point cloud file. So whereas with Revit, you will have entire RCP and be working in 3D environment, in 3D view or a 2D view, but you will have most likely a scope box, and you will be kind of fiddling around the point cloud file, and sometimes it's just cumbersome, or it's tough to handle the amount of information and all at the same time. So Undet number one comes in with the speed. If your workstation is that powerful that it can handle huge RCP files, that's fine. And often, in many cases, doing this the Undet way, meaning with raster images, speeds up the processing of a point cloud file. So it's faster to generate multiple raster images, or tens of raster images, let's say, rather than be rotating or inspecting the RCP file. So it's the speed. And number two is tools for slicing the point cloud file, so we can better understand and work in the area where you need with the information that you need for that particular area. So if you are working in this room, you're just gonna define an area and grab a raster image for this very area. Well, it may be the entire floor plan, but still you are dealing with a very particular data set that you need at this time. So it's I guess accuracy, speed, and just way of working. So you don't have to navigate through like sections and elevations to draw out a room. In this case, you can just generate a raster image and get the point cloud for that room and just start modeling. Also, there are other things like fit wall tool that a bunch of tools that allow you to automatically create walls, ceilings, and floors for your point clouds. And there are, like I said, other sets of tools that allow you for quality control and assurance. So modeling tolerance.
Maybe we can stay a bit with the automation tools, because this is directly connected to our previous discussion about that getting a point cloud is getting faster and faster, but the bottleneck of the whole process of Scan-to-BIM projects and creating the as-built documentation is actually with the drawing and modeling. So this is the part of the process that is taking the most of the time. So I'm really interested interested to see what automation or how you can really speed up the process of creating
Yes.
either a basic 2D floor plan or maybe a basic walls and floors in 3D.
Yes. So an example is right over here. So we have a fit wall tool within Undet ribbon that allows you to, first of all, pick a wall type that you want to use for your external walls or internal partitions or any walls in the project. You pick a wall type and you set a base level and your top constraints, so top level. So how high the wall constraints are. You have options for offsets, chain wall, or have them draw them individually.
Sorry. Just I'm guessing that the base and top I need to like set the before based on elevation view or.
Well, you set ideally at the start of your Revit project, you're gonna set levels that reference your building levels, obviously the point cloud.
But it should be referencing to the point cloud, right? Because if I'm remodeling the point cloud, the first thing I will get into project is a point cloud. So I guess I need to set levels there, right?
Yes, so in Revit, so these levels refer to Revit levels that you ideally have already set. So in the project, yeah, so you will have a bunch of levels, and it's gonna be referencing those levels. So let's say wall starting on level 0, how high it's going to go, so up to level 1 or level 2, etc. So it's just some key parameters for the walls, how high and what wall type it is. So it's not much. It's just these key parameters, and then once you set them up for your particular floor plan and a set of walls that you want to generate, you're then gonna go and use 3 clicks of your mouse button to generate walls, and you can just go around the building, let's say for external walls, and use a point cloud as a reference. So first click of a button will be the start of the wall. The second click will be the end of the wall, and the third click will be the thickness. And you are always looking at the point cloud and using it as a reference point. So it's just a faster way of producing your walls, right? If based on the thickness you have selected, the wall type is missing, it's going to automatically create a new wall type if you have set the.
Okay, you said that the third click will be the thickness. So
yes.
if the wall is naturally for some reason going from like 30 centimeters to 15, for example, it will adjust the thickness based only on the click, right? I don't need to like add new type of the wall.
Yes, exactly. I mean, yeah. So you may have to join the walls but most of the time walls are based on thickness. So if it's a new thickness, it's a new wall, and if that wall type is missing based on the thickness, it's going to create a new wall type to account for the thickness you have selected, and then just going to place the wall exactly where you have selected. You can actually do a 4-point wall, like in here. An example is here. So yeah, same idea, only that with the 4th click you define the radius of the curvature of the wall. So it's one of those tools that we classify as part of automation that we offer.
How does it handle the wall openings? So if I'm, for example, drawing the wall and there are windows, I can go right through them and then put windows inside, or how do you?
So you will first of all stay on the plan view and draw out the necessary walls that you want to, and then for openings, doors, windows, etc., you will be going into elevation view or a 3D view for that matter, and using and using the other tool that we have, so fit opening, and then placing the opening. So over here, you can see Revit has been split into two views. So we see an elevation view. That's a raster image. Like we said, we're working with raster images. This one highlights the intensity of our, well, it's a color intensity that's based on the different planes of the facade. So you can pick out, the window is offset further away just because the color, there's a color change in different parts of this facade. So it's quite detailed one. So you basically have a facade view open in the 3D view. And you're going to go in and just like with walls, we use 3 clicks. With fit opening tool, you will be using 2 clicks. So again, selecting a type of window you require, and then using the 2 clicks on the facade, it's going to automatically insert an opening where you pressed. So let's say, and it works diagonally to best define the size of the opening or a window.
If I'm just picking by the diagonal measurement, it might happen that these windows, even though they should be same type, they might appear as different types in the final model.
Well, they will be what you have modeled. If the window type is different, if the window type is missing, and you have specified.
Not sure if I'm clear here, but for example, you were showing in a previous view, you were showing windows which are obviously same in the terms of the type and measurements and everything. But while you are clicking, you could easily click like 2-3 centimeters somewhere else. So my question is whether it will place the windows with the same dimensions, or it will respect my clicking.
It's what you choose. It can stick to the size of the window type you have chosen at first, and disregard the accidental, press on the wrong place, or it depends on the settings you have set. It can realize that actually you have clicked somewhere further away, and now it makes up a different window size, but that window size is missing, and it then can execute the creation of the new window type based on the very exact size you clicked on, and then insert that opening. So it depends on your approach. If you want to model particularly on unique dimensions sometimes, because based on the scanning, you may come about with very odd numbers, but you can do that. It will create the window type. Or if you choose to stick to the existing set dimension, it will stick to that. So there are a few ways to go about this. And yes, I mean, when it comes to quality control and assurance, I just want to pick up on that while we're talking about Revit. We have tolerances that we can set. And remember when I said we have additional piece of software that's called Undet browser that allows you to browse and inspect the point cloud. There's the window of that. And in this video, you can see how we use browser to identify what is missing. Let's say in this exercise, we can see the colors in red. It's furniture most likely that is missing. Colored the green colored walls and everything else, it's existing in Revit model. So basically, the software overlays your Revit model with the point cloud, and based on your parameters, you can tell how well something has been modeled, or maybe, like you see, there's a red coloring over here. Maybe there's a cable tray or something that's missing. So you can see in the Revit model, it's not here. It is present in the point cloud. So the point cloud has it, but the Revit model doesn't have it. So the Undet browser tells you that actually it's missing based on the parameters you gave me, the tolerances you have set. I can tell you that it's missing, along with the furniture here. So Undet browser has direct communication, if that's correct to say, with Revit model, to a point where you can actually, let me just call out the small video on that, to a point where actually you can browse it simultaneously, the point cloud together with what you have modeled in the Revit model, and you can check for inaccuracies, check for missing elements, and so on and so forth. A lot of our clients, when they realize there are part of Undet that deals with quality control and assurance, that's a very viable selling point to them. So it's not just the speed and accuracy, let's say, that Undet gives you, or the automation tools. It's also checking the model. And if well, I'm not sure if you know, but a lot of European-based companies are outsourcing their work to Asia, let's say, and the results they get back are not always satisfactory, let's say, and for them, checking the quality of the model is an important part. So let's say they aren't modeling in Revit, they're outsourcing, but they want to check that what they receive is a viable and is a feasible Revit model based on
Do,
point
do,
cloud.
do you have some option of producing a kind of a protocol for the accuracy, or some
Uh,
statistics? I don't know,
re- re-
because I can see this
yeah.
being a bit cumbersome to just going through the whole model, especially if it's a big building or big sized project.
Yes. Well, oftentimes we ourselves, we do go not looking for each area in the model, but just navigating through and recognizing by the color coding that something is good or bad, or it needs attention. You are talking about some sort of reporting. So reporting is currently unavailable for under the browser, but that's something we have on our roadmap, and we want to, like you described, make it a bit more informative, where you can extract a very clear set of text or images or data to give your model a score, how well it has been modeled. But in this instance, under browser just allows you to overlay and fly through or browse your model versus point cloud scenario.
Okay. Do we have something more regarding the automation in the workflow, or should we move forward?
Yes. So doors, windows, openings, walls, floors and ceilings. So all the key components. There are automation tools for them. But actually, I would like to.
Okay, while you prepare this, I will have just a little commercial plugin, guys. I just want to point out that we are doing a 3 days conference in Prague in May. It's going to happen on 5th and 6th May this year in Prague, Czechia. It's going to be focused on reality capturing, on capturing the data, processing, delivering to the client. Our main topic for this year is main but not the only one. Is the 3D Gaussian Splatting, since it's almost everywhere right now. This is going to be main topic. Last year was amazing. Please consider coming this year to Prague. It's going to be great again. A lot of great speakers, a lot of great companies, and the best networking option there is out there. So see you in Prague. Let's go back to automations.
So I just want to. So all of the things that we discussed touched on the workflow of Undet indexer. We touched on Undet for Revit. But actually, I just wanted to kind of recap on the entire portfolio of Undet.
Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, so our aim is to really make data processing in terms of when it comes when you come to a point when you need to vectorize a point cloud, we want to make that process a smooth, a more efficient and faster for anyone working in those four environments. That's our predominant kind of environments. So we have add-ons. Obviously, you understand by now that there are a form of add-ons going on. And for 3D and BIM kind of work, we have Undet for Revit with the tools that we have discussed. If anyone actually has some curious to know a bit more about functionality that I wasn't either able to explain it here or we didn't have time, I would encourage to either go on our webpage, undet.com, or actually a better place to discover that would be our YouTube channel. So just type in Undet software. And in our channel, you will see there are playlists. If you navigate to Revit playlist, the one that I showed you previously, we have quite a few tutorial videos describing each set of each feature or set features. So it's quite useful to just to understand what it's about. Yes, and we are operating within AutoCAD. That's something that we don't really see a huge and bright future because AutoCAD pricing policy and a few other things, but we still have a lot of clients operating in that environment. Yeah, so Undet for AutoCAD is available. Undet for SketchUp, a different kind of user that's doing 3D. Well, there are professionals obviously working in that, but we noticed that there are a lot of I don't want to call them amateurs, but people that are doing this not as their first.
I was very much surprised how many professionals are actually working in a SketchUp.
Yes, and that's sometimes surprising. Yes.
So when I saw that you are supporting also SketchUp, it was again it was years ago, but
yes.
This was very surprising for two reasons for me. That back then it was so advanced that you were able to bring point clouds to the SketchUp, the first thing, and the second, that like, why would you do this for this amateur software? But afterwards I realized that it is amateur, but at the same time it became very powerful, and I could see many professionals working.
Yes, it's what I notice also. It sometimes depends on the pricing. Companies are strategizing and deciding on the costs. Very much so. I mean, not just like what's best for the people who know the software. So we have a team who knows Revit. That's good, but the long-term strategy heavily relies on costing and what will we be paying for the software.
Yeah, I saw it mainly probably with architects, which they usually used it for better visualizations options and rendering options. So maybe it's much easier for them to draw and model something in a SketchUp compared to AutoCAD. Or
I guess the big advantage is less of a learning curve and more user friendly for someone that's not been in the
maybe also the database of objects that you could just import. And
that's true. Yes. So we are heavily invested in SketchUp, and we have a roadmap. We have planned features coming in next quarter. So these are the platforms. For SketchUp, we have monthly licenses, annual and 3-year licenses. For Revit, well, for everything here you see, we have 1-year and 3-year licenses. For SketchUp, because of the nature of the end user, we have monthly licenses. So yes, and the other part of Undet I wanted to highlight today was Undet Suite, really. So it operates within Ares Commander, a 2D CAD software developed by a German software developer. So we are in partnership with them, and we actually offer Undet for Ares Commander. We call it Undet Suite. And we say it's the ultimate point cloud vectorization software, for the very reason that it's cost effective. May I say it's affordable, cost effective. It's has a very highly developed graphics engine, so the point clouds are displayed with great speed, so it has good graphics, the engine, and we have tools for Undet for Ares, and we're actually investing more and more in that direction. So there are users that utilize AutoCAD, and oftentimes they are looking for not so much alternatives, but for a better way to do that, something that costs less and is at least the same or better. And that's where we come in with Undet Suite. So we have a number of customers who have been transitioning and very successful.
So the RS, if I understand right, is a competition of the classic AutoCAD. And
it is, but there are just so many CADs out there in the industry. I don't know if AutoCAD sees that way, but
that's what I wanted to ask. Like, beside the pricing, is there any fundamental difference? If you compare them,
I guess one of the difference as well is that it's developed in Germany and not Asia, which is fine. But sometimes, from my experience, we had issues with Asian developers, customer service, and resolving issues and bugs, etc. So we find that Undet for Ares. Ares Command is very good in technical support, in relationship management, and just generally what they deliver as a 2D CAD platform is very, very is great. Actually, the costs, efficiency due to graphics engine, and user interface familiarity. Well, it's just like AutoCAD. I'm not sure if I'm correct just to say that way, but it's very user friendly. So for anyone who's used to CAD software like AutoCAD, let's say, will be positively surprised at how quickly they can get on board with Ares Commander. So from our point of view, it's the ultimate point cloud software for vectorizing your point clouds. But that obviously we're talking about 2D CAD only.
So. We're not here to promote the RS, but since we are discussing this, I was just checking it today, because while I was preparing for this session, I just wanted to know what it is and how does it look like. And I noticed that it's very similar to AutoCAD in terms of the user experience.
Yes.
So the transition from AutoCAD to RS shouldn't be very complicated for experienced user.
Yes, I mean, I'm not downplaying AutoCAD. It's great. It's an industry standard. We have a lot of customers in that environment. It's great. I'm just here to tell you that there's something better. I'm gonna have to be blunt. So it's in most cases works better. So the thing I wanted to touch on, and we. The time is melting, but the thing I want to touch base was our own expertise. So right at the beginning, I mentioned that we ourselves have a lot of expertise scanning and vectorizing and dealing with point clouds and equipment. So how the partnership has come about is, again, just like the entirety of Undet software, we realized that actually we ourselves need something better, need something a bit more affordable, need something that operates faster, and we realize it's a very viable solution. We have got in touch with them, and the end result is the Undet Suite, Ares Commander plus Undet add-on. We are very happy working with that and offering to our customers. So like many things here, it has come from our own pains, from our own expertise. And in this document, just wanted to highlight some of the projects we have worked on. We deal with heritage BIM a lot, especially recently, and so there are a couple of examples. So there's a software component to Undet, and I also wanted to highlight that we offer services as well. So
I wanted to touch that. So
yes,
maybe you can meanwhile comment on what we are seeing in the video, and I want to touch the services right away.
yes. So what we are seeing are projects that we ourselves have completed, getting grants or private businesses requesting services. So that's something that we have. We did the scanning for and the vectorizing. The 3D stuff just looks a bit more interesting, but trust me that there's a lot of 2D stuff that we have done and still working on. So there's just lots of projects. This comes under a brand that's called Terramodus, and it operates within Lithuania. But the expertise of Terramodus is something that we have brought on board to Undet. And like I said, there's Undet software where we develop the software we discussed, and there's the other part of Undet that does the services. So for the services, our goal is to really improve the quality of point cloud vectorization. So there's a great deal of customers who, like I mentioned previously, are not doing the vectorization themselves, and they are relying on other sources for that. So sometimes maybe Asian countries. And the problem with that is often the quality that they receive back from those companies. So one of our aims is to really negate the quality issue, as we are based in Europe and we are certain standards when it comes to vectorizing. We have standards at our own office for the projects that we vectorize within Lithuania, but the same standards apply to our services and anyone we do the work for. So,
so sorry, are you in a position of being a middleman between like Indian guys modeling and drawing, or you have
we
your
take
own
over.
people in Europe that
Yes,
are doing
yes.
the
We take
manual
over
process?
the entire project, and like I said, our aim is to become a trusted partner and deliver those point clouds, deliver the 2D and 3D projects in a better quality and on good time schedule.
What do you think is the main problem with outsourcing projects to India, Pakistan, and so on? Is it really the quality, or is it not good enough setting the expectations from the client?
Expectations have room for being interpreted. Yes, it could be expectations. In most cases, I think is just a set of standards that companies go by. So the expectations are important and most talked about, but what is beneath expectations are the standards. So oftentimes businesses just don't realize the kinds of standards different companies abide by, and not so much get into trap, but the results they see are different from what they expected. So yes, it's to do with expectations, but the driving factor for why this may sometimes happen is to do with just standards of how you work with point clouds, how you vectorize them.
What I see as a problem, and maybe you can prove me wrong, what I see as a problem is that usually companies that are ordering or giving this outsourcing to Asia, these are usually scanning companies. Okay, so they don't necessarily have enough education or experience with either BIM or 2D drawings. So if their client asks for a BIM or 2D layouts or whatever, they order it from India. They get something which they are not able to verify or see whether it's according to standards or not,
Yes.
and they are delivering these projects. Of course, the feedback will be, it's terrible, it's not good enough, you have to repair this. But again, the middleman, in this case the reality capturing company, is not educated enough to be getting good results from the India. So why I'm saying this, because I still believe that these Asian guys are doing a lot of manual work on this model, which is not easily replaceable here in Europe or in States, because it's
Yes.
much more costly, right? But since you are not able to define very precisely what you need, in what standards, how the model should behave, and so on, then you are getting what you're getting.
Yes, well, yes, you don't know exactly what you are getting, and when you realize it's sometimes too late because you already received it, you paid for it. Let's say, I'm not saying there are always there are only bad relationships or results or behavior. It can work obviously, but our goal is to really present the best quality of services that we can. We are based in Lithuania, Europe, and we assign people that have good
So
communication skills as well.
yeah, what's the okay? I don't want to speak about outsourcing anymore, but what's the feedback from your clients that are using your plugin for modeling, drawing, and they found out that you are actually offering the same service as they are doing? Like, is there any backlash, or they are okay with this, or?
Not really. They are okay because in one area they are buying the software that helps them to make better and faster models or 2D drawings. On the other hand, the services is, I mean, we have clients who buy the software and are also ordering services from us. If anything, in most cases, it's not really a clashing point. Is an advantage because they realize that we actually know what we are talking about when it comes to developing software, and because we have that experience, and part of our business is day to day deliverables of point clouds. So we know what kind of software. So we are our own customer in a way. So in most cases, it's really we get a good words from those customers who are aware that we are a services company as well as software developers.
Mhm. Okay, so I have two questions that we didn't discuss before, but I'm very curious. I already mentioned it during my commercial break about the free dice. It was the 3D Gaussian Splatting. So the question is easy. I don't expect people to want to model on 3D Gaussian Splatting, but it could be a nice way how to enhance the final views of the 3D model that you are doing in Revit or whichever software. So, is there on a roadmap, or have you already brainstormed about this to be trying to allow also 3D Gaussian Splatting into your viewer browser or
Yes.
plugins?
To be honest, it's not our priority right now. It should be perhaps, and it just depends what angle you're coming from. And it's definitely something we are tracking, but we have a few other things that in our way of thinking are more pressing, are more urgent. So
Which are?
Slam scanner integration within Undet browser. and MEP automation. So, in other words, MEP extraction.
What does it mean when you say SLAM
So
integration?
we're optimizing Undet browser that you can inspect the scan data in a slightly different way when it comes to SLAM scanner workflow. So that's something we're planning to introduce.
So are you referring to the fact that SLAM data are usually coming with the noise and with thicker
Exactly.
surfaces
Yes.
and so
Yes.
on, right?
We are enhancing that and not distorting the quality. So we have ways of enhance that, and that's something we are planning to introduce very soon, actually.
Because the typical problem of SLAM data is that you are getting like double or triple walls because there is a drifting of the data,
Yes.
and naturally SLAM has this noise, which even though if you are measuring the flat wall, you can easily get like few centimeters apart points on the flat surface.
Yes, exactly. So it's the quality of the scan data that we are addressing here. So improving that with photonometry overlaid.
How far are we from that? Like when people can expect this feature?
Next few months. So next month or the month after. We're very close. We have actually done most of the work, and we are looking for partnerships with manufacturers and channels to introduce this new functionality. So that's going to be quite exciting, especially when we realize that the SLAM scanner side of the industry is actually exploding or increasing. Yes.
Maybe one more question regarding this. When you mentioned that you are looking for partnerships with SLAM companies, uh, do you need for your workflow like their internal data or something more than you are getting just from a raw point clouds? Or
No, we don't need much data from them except the specifications of the software. So the kinds of file formats they're working with, how they are
maybe
imported, and
understanding the
a couple of
algorithm
aspects.
better?
Yes, not so much algorithm, but just a couple of aspects of it's to do with the specification of the software.
Okay.
So our software engineers can pick up on that and kind of adapt on that software. So and then we call it's now integrated. So yes,
I know there are people also from hardware producer companies following and watching these webinars. So if you guys are interested, feel free to go to Povilas and get in
yes.
touch, and maybe you can do some nice collaboration. What about those maps you mentioned?
So MEP extraction is something that, we had it on our roadmap for Revit since last year, but now finally we are moving forward to releasing it. So it's, if I was to talk about some new and exciting features, that would be one of the most exciting one. The missing part of our Undet for Revit add-on is the MEP functionality. So when it comes to types of buildings, industrial typology or MEP heavy buildings, we not yet had tools that address how do you, let's say, extract the MEP components, or how do you deal with them, how do you view them, because just it's so the views are so complicated. So there are features that we thought of and developed that are going to come into the market quite soon as well, and that's one of the more urgent or pressing issues that we faced, and it was a growing issue. How do you deal with MEP elements? How do you extract them?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we have now ways of doing that. So anyone that's interested in Revit as a platform and point clouds in Revit, I would suggest to stay tuned with Undet newsletter or website for these for the news. Yes.
I want to touch also the topic of AI. and I will put it in a context. I have seen several solutions that they are claiming that they are able to extract based on AI the like some walls openings and basically segment data and create 3D objects instead of the point cloud.
Yes.
And at the same time, I'm getting a lot of questions whether there is like fully automated software for either creating the 3D BIM model from the point cloud or 2D drawings. People are looking for easy way out of
Yes.
these projects.
Yes.
So the question is, what's your opinion about those solutions, and where in your roadmap is AI?
The easy way out is less of a philosophy at Undet, because we realize the nature and the reality of surveyors and anyone digitizing buildings and dealing with Revit components or 2D CAD. So we pay more attention to what's required right now from the customers, from the industry, and we focus our attention to that. AI, yeah, it may be a good a good idea to follow or do something with it, but right now I would rather stick to more urgent issues and realize accept the reality than maybe go not so much chasing, but uh, it's more of an adventurous roadmap if we include AI, and it's does not necessarily mean it leads to good outcomes. So we leave that for startups.
Perfect. Povilas, if there is any type of call to action you want to mention or say something to our audience, it's the right time to do it right now.
Yes. So I wanted to thank everyone who joined the meeting. Maybe that's Michael, what you're going to say, but I was just going to thank from Undet, and also encourage to go to our webpage, undet.com, and use the trial. We offer software trials for 2 weeks or a month with Undet Suite. And I would encourage to use the trials, use the opportunity to kind of pick the software and understand how it operates and how you may benefit from that. If you have any questions or need a technical demonstration of the software, we're always happy to do that. And you can contact me or my colleagues. So my email is my first name at undet.com, and you can book demonstrations on the web as well. So I would encourage to have a look into that and use a trial.
I remember doing a LinkedIn post about I don't remember the name of the person, but somebody created this video of comparison of manual drawing or modeling compared using Undet within the Revit, and it was showing this big savings in time. Like it was, I don't know, like half an hour compared to several hours.
Yes.
Whether you are using Undet or not. So this was a great demonstration of how powerful this can be. I've been following Undet really for several years. I think you are doing a great job, guys. So it's been my pleasure to have you here and to dig deeper a little bit about this solution. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.